So Natalie Freeman, it is brilliant to have you with us today. Natalie is a Havening practitioner here in Bristol. And this is my opportunity to showcase you, Natalie, to the Tip the Balance masses. So thank you for being part of the tribe, of the army that is Tip the Balance, and all of these amazing people that we can connect with to give that next layer of specific support to people out there that just need that helping hand. It's lovely to have you with us, Natalie. Tell us a little bit about Natalie as a human being.
Oh, so I'm a mum. It's my first and my most important role. I'm a mum, I'm a wife, I'm a counsellor, therapist. I've got loads of parents and bits, but that's a whole nother story, stepmums, stepdads. And yeah, I've got rabbits. I love spending time in nature. I like looking after myself. I like going to the beach. And I just like, feeling good about today. I like things like gratitude. I'm into kind of the universe, all of that kind of nice stuff, and into the whole chakra energies and helping people heal in a way that's right for them. So I've got lots of tools that I can help, and I'm very intuitive and led by what you need. And I've got loads of tools to help depending on what you need. So
interesting you say that, because I hadn't ever heard of Havening before. I'll be really honest with you, until it's about 18 months ago, maybe. Time is just weird now, isn't it? I got no concept of how much time has passed. But I was at the old rectory up in Iron Acton, and I saw a leaflet on the table. And then it actually linked up with something that I'd seen on my Facebook as well, I think, on social media, about this opportunity to kind of come and find out what Havening's all about. And I remember thinking, Havey what? That's, I've never heard of that before. And I've heard about quite a few alternative and complementary therapies. So that intrigue kind of got the better of me. And I booked in because you did a brilliant free session at the old rectory that day, which was just that abundant free education. It's great. But I realised, as you touched on then, there is this huge toolkit that you have that's brought in. So what is Havening, and how does that fit in with this sort of professional toolkit that you have built over the years?
I suppose it's important to share a bit about my life because, we do things for a reason. And, as a child, I was adopted, abandoned by my parents. I went through a whole journey up to 51 I am now of, not feeling good enough, not feeling loved, not being wanted. Then the parents that had me, with lots of love around me, but they divorced, then I was, moved from one side of Bristol to the other, always the bigger kid at school, always kind of overweight, never really knew where I belonged, fitting into what everybody wanted, being the good girl. And I never felt good enough. And I had an abusive marriage. I kind of went from one thing to the other, went to university, kind of took all that on board. And then it was like, whoa, put on loads and loads of weight. Then I lost weight through a CBT program that I still do. I lost 32 pounds over 5 stone. And then it was like, whoa, actually, I need to sort my stuff out, because it's not about eat less, move more. There was more to it, more that was going on about all those beliefs and things. And that little lost child, really, that I was just being what everybody else wanted me to be. And I wouldn't be myself. Would my mum be cross? Would my dad be cross? I had then a stepmum and a stepdad. And I've actually found my natural parents as well since. And all of that, I had enough love for everyone, but they couldn't deal with it. And I struggled as a child. So through doing my counselling course through the weight loss, then took me into that realms of self-development, and with everything you learn, do your own stuff. You're not quite up for that at the time. It's like, whoa, and I'll deal with that, so it was the CBT, transaction analysis, NLP, which is brilliant, and then it went on to timeline therapy, hypnosis, and then someone contacted me in Gloucester as a counsellor to say, do you want to come to an intro? And then I learned about Havening. It's like, whoa, that was like the icing on the cake, and I can add all the skills that I've got. So all those beliefs, you detach the emotion from not feeling a good girl, so you can do certain things. I mean, each therapy's got their own merit, and it's what's right for you. So everything is valuable, but it's what works for you. I mean, some people do tap-in, some people do lots of other stuff, and NLP in isolation. But for me, I didn't want to be restricted. And once I had this toolkit, it opened up to get deep, to get into that emotional stuff. And Havening Techniques is a touch-based therapy, and it delinks trauma, delinks emotions so that you feel better, because the brain is like a fire alarm. We call her Amy. She's like little Amy in your mind freaking out when something happens. So you would remember that this happened, or your stepdad said this, or your stepmom said that. You were unhappy about that. And you're going, oh yeah, here we go again. Or a bully might say something, thinking, oh, my ex-husband might be, you think, oh, here we go again. It keeps you safe in that flight, fight, freeze response, because that's what the brain does. And what Havening does is it delinks the emotion attached to that. So I will know that my ex-husband wasn't great, or it was not great when I was younger, but with the process you can delink that, so you can be okay with it, so you don't necessarily forget. And then that's what Havening did really for me. It was like it made that round, made me feel whole. And then obviously now I'm able to empathize, sympathize, and I'm trained to help others, because I believe that everything I've gone through, and that's probably only half of, I explained half of what I've gone through, you know, cancer and all kinds of stuff. It's like, whoa, and I'm still positive, and I'm always glass half full, and I still have to work on my self-care massively, especially in COVID, my self-care, my eating, because naturally I want a bottle of wine and loads of chocolate, but it's like, what do I want more? That whole self-love thing. So it's been a journey, although I hate that word, to discovering me, and now I can help others with Havening and the other things. So it's what's right for them.
Yeah, I was just
So,
going to ask you that.
yeah.
If someone came to you, for instance, because they heard that you were an NLP practitioner, or they heard that you were trained in CBT,
Yeah.
you know, is that what they come to you for, or is it very much an organic process, if you like? And you mentioned, I love the way you describe it as like Dora's backpack. You know, do you just literally like open up this wonderful bag? It's like the granny and Jack and the Flum Flum tree, or whatever it was. You know, what's in the patchwork sack today? You know, are you very much led by your client and your instincts, or is it like, no, you've come to me for NLP, so that's what you need. We need to see through a process, or do you just kind of feel it as you go on?
I think it's what people believe they want and what they actually want are not necessarily the same thing. So they might be looking for something different. So they might have tried CBT, and they might have had one lady who was in therapy for like 7 years, you know, in a CBT, because they want to talk. And that's what some people do want to do. And I allow them that space to do that. Other people are ready. They don't want to carry on anymore, you know, and they want to make real changes. So fast, quick changes can be made quickly and safely with Havening, but that's not to say that I wouldn't be adding NLP in with that. So it's very much, I would sit Dora or whoever that person is down and just have a chat, do a bit of history taking, and think about what they're ready to deal with, what they want to deal with, because what you come in with, you might not be ready. It might unpack a lot of other stuff. And it's about, you know, just being intuitive, and, you know, if they want CBT, you know, why do they want that? What do they want to achieve? How do they want to go out feeling? I want people, so one of my top values is about getting results. So I want someone to get results. So I don't want to be seeing someone for like years in therapy. That is not what I want. What I want to do is go, right, let's deal with this. Let's give you the tools. Let's keep you in a good place, and go and tell your friends how amazing I am, and I'll help somebody else with giving them a self-havening tool that they can manage in the moment. Which for me, you know, when I was going up to Tesco in coronavirus times, it's like I'm self-havening in the car before I get out, because I am like freaking out. My little Amy amygdala's going, oh God, are they going to wear the mask? Is it going to be the 2-meter rule? It's like, and like I perceive I'm quite positive and okay, but it will happen to all of us. The landscape of the brain changes over time, and there will be things, you know, my auntie at the minute is like, you know, kind of in care, and I'm not going to get to see her again, you know. So it's being able to help me deal, and help others deal with what comes up, really. So, and what I'd like to think about is that resilience for the future, so I can help in the present and the past. But, you know, in America, everyone has therapy all the time. So what I would hope for is that people maybe check in like once a month as a top up, as a resilience building. You know, one lady's been with me for quite a long time weekly, because it's major trauma and stuff happening now. And now we're resilience building, and it's a pleasure to do every other week for a while, and then once a month. Like you would set goals, like you would, you know, decide your New Year's resolutions. For me, that's what I would love for people to come and deal with where they are now. Let's dig into the past if you're happy to, so you can feel better, and let's just look at the possibilities. Oh gosh, let's do some goal setting.
Yeah.
Let's do some resilience building. Let's help your kids. Let's, you know, teachers in schools, let's have a tool for you to kind of go, you know, this is the new possibility, and it's in your hands with Havening, you know, with obviously a certified practitioner. It's really important to make sure that someone's gone through that certification, because people dabble with things, and I'd want you to do yourself the service of getting the right help and support. You know, there's people around the globe now, we're doing live on Zoom, and that is the future. If not with me, then someone else there, you know, and people do specialize in different things. So it would be really a long answer to your question, but it would be really, it's very much led by you. So if you're, you know, Rebecca, you're sat there and I'm thinking, oh, what's in Rebecca's backpack? And we can work that out together. What would you like to be in your backpack? What would you like to have?
So it's almost a dependent process to start with. Someone's come to you, this is happening for me, and you know, you're drawing those things out of them. You then describe this lovely sort of state of interdependence where you're educating, you're helping to reframe, you're sharing these incredible skills so that ultimately they are sort of growing into an independent self-care state. Is that something that has always been your vision for client care, or is that something that, you know, obviously Havening is a hands-on technique, and coronavirus will have kind of messed that up a bit. So
Yeah.
so I loved the term self-havening when you started to describe it, you know, back when I first met you. This is such a powerful thing to be able to learn how to do for ourselves, for our children to be able to learn to do, particularly, you know, we're processing things at the moment as an adult in a bit of a crazy world, but you know, there are all these questions, aren't there, about the mental health of our children, the long-term effect on the young people of, you know, what this has been like. And I think there have been incredible benefits for them as well, don't get me wrong, but I love the way that you describe that journey. Has that always been your vision, or is that something that sort of coronavirus has
Well, I suppose ultimately we need to earn money, don't we, to pay the mortgage and have lovely holidays. But ultimately, I want people to self-manage. So if you were to just, you know, with your hands now, just as we're talking, just to maybe just kind of note how you're feeling, you know, and just literally do that. I mean, I'm lifting my hands up so you can see, but you know, it's as simple as hold, but there's a process, and you know, obviously I'm trained to know. So it's about, sometimes it's just about talking and just managing your state in the moment, you know, on the arms if you're happy to, and the face creates delta waves in a way that helps soothe. So it's like that first brainwave sleep, really. So it can help you get to sleep.
That physical touch is causing significant changes in our brain, isn't it? And like, you know, is that what Havening is doing? Is that, you know, we all know, well, not necessarily all of us, but for lots of us, that physical touch is a comfort. It's a sign of you know, changing our state. But that's not just a physical thing, that's a neurochemical thing, is it? Is it, you know,
well, you do it, you know, if you've got children or you care for people, the first thing you do is you give that tender touch, don't you? You touch them and you get that comfort, and we're all craving hugs right now. So it's about, you can give yourself a Havening hug if you decide to kind of do in that way, or it's about just helping you to manage. So over a time, the delta waves will kick in, and it's like that kind of nice, you know, some clients kind of yawn. It's because it's relaxing you, and it actually takes you from to, you'll see, and when you came to the demo, you probably noticed that you, over time, if we're doing it for long enough, if I can help, you know, help you do it while you're there, you don't notice. Not like you've got to do this and it's got to be this, you know. I want it to be very natural and fluid, that you can do that, and then obviously explain how it can help in the moment and do all the amazing things it does, to help you, because it can help so many things, but it's just dealing with one thing at a time, really. But yeah, and it will be linked.
I can see that, you know, in terms of sort of the busy mind things, you know, anxiety and those sorts of things. I could really see straight away how that was making the connection. But you've talked before about the effect of touch and pain management and that kind of thing. That's another, you know, I know that you've helped clients that are in that sort of situation. I mean, that the list of things that you can help to support is just vast, isn't it?
Yeah.
Some of it very much about mental health support, but it's also about that sort of the pain and the palliative sort of side of life as well, that's fascinating.
Yeah, because my auntie at the minute is not got long left, and I sent a video to my cousin, and she said she's getting help from just being there with her mum, just stroking her hand. And I said, well, if you can do it a certain way, and I talked about activating the delta waves and certain things that might be helpful to say, just giving people options. So not like you need to do this and you need to do that. It's very much you could do this if you want to. That's kind of the way I work. I don't want to tell you, because we get told enough by society, by the internet, by our parental, certainly me, or, you know, so it's about, you know, this is what you could do. So like going in a shop, like perusing, you know, what departments would I go in, and what sweets would I have? Well, I could have this and I could have that. And I use a lot of metaphors and lots of things that are helpful, that resonate with you, to help you release the stress and the anxiety, really. And you know, we can work with outcomes. Patient, you know, was going in for an operation. We did the whole process with Havening, where we went forward on the timeline to look at how would it be if it went well. And we can go back in the past and look at things that maybe would have been helpful if somebody had said or didn't say, or things that were done. And we can, you know, with timeline therapy, you can go back and deal with that if you want to. It's whatever is right for, and we bring your younger self or your inner child. A lot of people don't like that whole inner child, but we, you know, we can work with what you want, and I'll use what is right for you. So we'd never get you to do anything you don't want to do. It'd be about what's helpful, always what's helpful, and in a way that is manageable at that time.
Yeah, you described it, I remember, as havening being like creating your self haven.
Yeah.
And I just thought then, yes, that will resonate with so many people, because some of these things are difficult to deal with, whether they've happened before, whether they're happening now, whether it's something you're apprehensive and anxious about happening in the future, or you know you have no control over, but you can't get your head around separating yourself from it. And I think when you describe that about that self haven, you know, so much of that is about looking after yourself, about helping yourself to move through these phases, move through these things that have happened to you or happening to you, or you're worried might happen to you.
And it's about that self haven, about being safe, like a safe haven, like a lighthouse, like, you know, being your own cheerleader, really. About being able to be okay with you.
Yeah, it's so empowering, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
So if someone wants to come and work with you, how does that work? How do they get in touch with you, and what do they expect? What should they expect from working with you?
Okay, well, at the moment, coronavirus has allowed me to go online, which has been great. Back in the old days, I used to actually physically touch people with the Havening Touch. So now you can access me online, and we do like a Zoom session, and I show you, obviously make sure my camera's in the right thing to show you what to do. And, you know, children come in, all kind of things happen, not my kids, because it's a note on the door. So you can contact me via Zoom. As and when the Havening Hub opens, then you can come and physically see me in a room, or you can go online to the main Havening website and find out, you know, who would be certified that you'd want to work with. You just go in and type in where you are, and you can potentially have someone in New Zealand, Australia, wherever, in the UK, a man, a woman, whatever's right for you. So online, in person when it's available, and I offer a call. So I'd like to see you, really, on Zoom if you can, or I do FaceTime or WhatsApp for people, you know, whatever is easy for you. I don't want to make it any harder than it needs to be. And my website is due to be up and running by the end of March. So you'll be able to go on there. So you could have my telephone number, there'll be a website. I've got a Facebook page, Havening Bristol, where I kind of post stuff on there, and that'll have some of the corporate things on there and different bits and pieces. So yeah, it's just whether you're ready, really, to deal with something in a different way that hasn't really worked for you before, and just see if I've got a toolbox.
Yeah, exactly. What can we pull out of the set? Yeah. And does the length of that treatment, because we talked about it being a journey and this sort of transition, does the length of that commitment depend on what's going on for you, or do you like people to commit for a certain amount of time? You know, what in terms of expectations of that relationship between you and your clients, do you set set your stall out to start with in that respect, or is that intuitive as well?
Well, I've got kind of a basis. So I like to talk to someone for free. So it's about you wanting to work for me and also you being right for me too. If I were to feel that there was someone that was more specialized in that area, then I would pass you on to someone else, because I wouldn't be doing you, I'd be doing myself and you a disservice really, because I want you to get results and I want you to get the best for you. So the free consultation would be just to meet me, have a little brief chat about what you want. And most people are usually nervous. So it's about whether I resonate with you and whether I can help you initially. So it's a two-way thing, you liking me and me being able to help you. And then what I do is I don't ever do like a one-off session, because nobody's fixed in one session. So in my opinion, I like to do three blocks. So usually people need 6 or more, but it's about manageable bite-sized chunks, and it's about, let's do 3 and see how you feel. And within that 3, I will do what's needed to manage that session. And then if you want to do more, so you would pay for 3 up front. That's your commitment to yourself, really, that you're serious about wanting to make a change.
Yeah.
And I give you a questionnaire, different questions to ask before you come. So you'll get, I think it's 3 bits of paper, one about my details, one about like duty of care, data protection, all that kind of stuff, the fees. There'll be another sheet that will give you some questions to look at, which you can fill out or not. It's no pressure, it's just, it saves time, and also it gives me more preparation so I can look at it beforehand to prepare for the session. But if you don't want to do that, that's fine. If you can't master the whole writing it, and because I'm not that great with technology, although I'm improving. So, it's about, don't stress, so it's talk to me. Once you decide you want to engage for 3 sessions, I like to do weekly at the same time. So we set a time, but obviously if you're a shift worker, it's just about having those 3 times booked in, and those are your times. Usually I would do the same time every week for 3 weeks. And then it's about, you will have had your first session, you've made some changes, we'll do whatever's right for you, give you the tool that you need, or just sometimes people just want to talk and feel a little bit calmer.
Yeah.
Because you might have lots of stuff you want. I had loads of boxes, the lids were on, I didn't even know where they were, let alone even linked to any emotion. It's like, whoa, no, I don't even know where they are. So sometimes
it's a very two-way communicative, right? What's next? How and that's terrific to sort of have that regular review and looking forward. You touched before on finding a Havening practitioner. And I think that this is really interesting thing to explore, and something I'm doing with all of my partners. If somebody is looking for someone, you mentioned going onto the main Havening website, which we can put the link up for as well. What are they looking for? Because there are so many of these wonderful tools that you've talked about, aren't there, that unfortunately you can, they're advertised on social media all the time as well. Send us 2 coupons off a box of Weetabix, 35 quid, and we'll send you a certificate because you've done a multiple choice quiz for an hour. You've put so much into building your toolkit over years and years and years, and you bring that wealth of life experience with you. So if someone's looking for a Havening therapist, a Havening practitioner, local to them, for instance, can you just go over again for us? Where would they find that? What are they looking for in terms of credibility? And what should they expect? What kind of range should they expect to pay for these kind of sessions, these kind of treatments? Not necessarily yours, because obviously, but how will they know that they've got the right kind of person?
So the first thing I would say, if you want a Havening practitioner, have a certified Havening practitioner, and the only ones that are certified are on the main Havening website, which is the www.org, which are all around the world. So that there's the credibility within that. Obviously, we've all got our own toolkits, and all specialists. Some are doctors, some are psychotherapists, some are chakra healers, some are, and intuitive people. So they will all have their own toolkit. And my question would really be is, what do you want? Why is it important that you pick the NLP or the CBT, or what are you looking for? So kind of go inward and kind of do that head, heart and gut. What is it you want? And if you can work out what the outcome is, how do you want to feel? Because everything promises this and this, but how do you be in touch? Because sometimes we don't know, we just want to fix, that person to fix it. But actually, what do you want? I want you to get real results. So what do you want from this? So I want a certified practitioner, and I want to feel less stressed. I want to have a tool to help me manage my anxiety. I want to get rid of that feeling of that past trauma, that bullying, that abuse, whatever it is. So just really get in touch with what do you actually want? Have a little think about that, maybe journal and have a think. And then just go with what you think. Read up, see who you like the picture of, the sound of, or just ring me and we can have a chat and see. Go from there, really. I think it's about, the answers ultimately. It's just getting the right person to help you that resonates. So if they don't resonate with you, just because they got 60 million more qualifications of the BSCP, all these letters more than I've got, if it doesn't resonate, then they're not right for you. Just be honest with yourself, really. That's what I would say. And ultimately. And if you don't know, just try one, and there's no harm in trying another one.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, isn't it? It's absolutely, as you say, go with your head, your heart, your gut. And even if they don't complete that questionnaire that you send them, it just helps. If they don't send it to you, completing it just helps to gather your thoughts and helps to kind of get you to focus on the outcomes that you're looking for, doesn't it? And what can someone expect to pay? What kind of price range would you say is an indication of somebody is actually credible, qualified, professional, and they know what they're doing?
I wouldn't say there's a set price as such, because some of us work with, you've got that whole gratitude thing and service in America, very much about we do so much, and then there's other extenuating circumstances or different areas. So it'd be about go with what they set. I suppose you can expect with Havening, because it's so quick, if you're doing a real, like a quick Havening session, if it was like a phobia or it was you're scared of flying or something like that, that would be a shorter process. And I suppose it would be 100, 150, 200 pounds, 250, it might be more for 1 hour session, it might be more in London. It just depends on what's around that, whether they've got a physical premises and everyone's different. And some people might do so much as part of something else. So it is a difficult question to answer, really.
I appreciate that. And when it's an ongoing process, that's why that constant review, where do we go next, is such an important thing as well. Brilliant. So just to wrap up then, what does the future hold for Natalie and for the Havening Hub and for Havening Bristol? And obviously you can see into the future when we're like in the most uncertain time ever, but what are you excited about at the moment that, I know coronavirus and the lockdown has really sparked your creative thinking and so many things that you've done to help yourself, but you've really started to kind of, put the feelers out for some new areas and new things that are going on. So what do we get to look forward to with the future for you two?
So I've got more time because my kids are 16 and 18. Whoa, I can actually think about me. Passion for helping others. So that is right. Come on, Natalie, you owe that to yourself. So you've got the Havening Hub, which will be opening shortly. And within that, I can work with you one-to-one. I'm still going to do the social distance bit, the 2 meters, until things change. I want to provide you with a tool that you can self-manage so that you can go away and tell your friends, this is really good, and go and see Natalie. I want you to potentially deal with the stuff in the moment, deal with the past stuff without swearing, and move forward to the future for the possibilities of what can happen, the goals that you could set. That's the really like icing on the cake stuff, and we talk about it in Havening terms, the neuronal garden of, the soil, making sure that's right, pulling the weeds out, those trauma, and then planting those seeds of resilience, and eventually having a beautiful, lovely, fragrant, beautiful garden. So for me, that would be the ultimate for everybody, that you've got the tools to manage, you're still getting support, maybe once a month, or just to check in, setting your goals and helping you along that. So you've got somebody holding your hand. Yeah. So it's not just about dealing with the past stuff or the initial. For me, it would be about taking you, to where you want to go at the right speed. And then I'm hoping to do workshops. So it might be about a group of people, it would be a smaller price then, really, because more, about maybe something about sleep, or a bit of stats and a tool, or something about stress. I'm going to do some kind of weight loss thing with cravings we can do, and with the NLP, changing a like to dislike. You really don't want to have a certain food, we can do that. And a program that I'm developing at the minute around the chakras, because I believe in the body gives you your clues. You've got a funny tummy, or you kind of cough in your throat chakra, there's something. And that's a new course I've done in lockdown, as well as being a mental health educator. It's like, oh my God, I'm excited to use new things and learn new things. And I want to add that in So I'll potentially do like a 4-week program where people come. So that's all coming, but not yet. Really, I want people to know about Havening, to hear about it, to share it, to come and see me or one of my colleagues, and let's get Havening out there in this community in South Gloucestershire where we are in Bristol, and get people knowing that it is a great tool. And for teachers, really, well, for children, really, I'd like them to be self-havening, you know, even if they're like a little bit scared in the toilet or whatever, that I can give them a tool. And we've devised some songs that, you know, like about washing your hands with havening and hugs and all those, because I'm a big kid at heart. I've got little chairs in my office that were my kids' chairs. It's like, you know, I'm a big kid and I love all that, you know, Santa, and let's just make everything fun and make it easy, like putting sun lotion on, like washing their hands. I'd love to be helping in a school to aid someone. I'm happy to go in for free initially to aid that, because obviously the school curriculum won't allow just some random person to go in. So tools really to help.